Hi, I'm Renarta Clanton Moyd. I'm the Communications Specialist with the Cumberland County Schools and your host of Get Connected. During this monthly show, we highlight numerous educational topics that face today's student, educator, and parent in the Cumberland County Schools. Now, most would agree that being a classroom teacher in public education is a challenge, but many new teachers face this challenge with enthusiasm. As a matter of fact, the Cumberland County school system has a strong beginning teacher support program that helps those new teachers stay motivated in order to meet the demands of the everyday classroom. Now, after this break, we'll talk with two educators from the Cumberland County Schools Beginning Teachers Program about how they're working to support new teachers during this edition of Get Connected.
Say with me, imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now.
No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite,
Unearth hidden passion.
Mama, have a good time.
Bring seeds of inspiration to motivate some magic.
Change the writing on the wall, writing on the wall.
And make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first little thing that helps to change a life.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected. We're talking with Cumberland County Schools Beginning Teacher Support Coordinator, Tina Chapman, and Jovan Jones, the Professional Development Facilitator, about how they're helping new teachers meet the demands of today's classroom. Tina, Jovan, welcome.
Thank you.
Hi.
Glad
How are
to
you
be
doing?
here.
So glad you all are here. And you know what, I was thinking to myself, this is the first time either of you have been here on the show, isn't it?
No, I came maybe about 5 years ago.
That's right, Teacher of the Year maybe?
No, that actually with Beginning Teachers with Sandy Arteaga.
That's
a long
right,
time
I
ago.
remember. Okay, I do remember
First
now.
time for me.
First time for you. Okay, well I'll be gentle.
Thank you.
Okay, okay.
Appreciate that.
Well, thank you all again for being here. And let's just jump in. But you know what, before we do that, let me ask you this question. Now, both of you all have different teaching backgrounds, correct?
Yes.
Okay, with you, Jovan, talk to us a bit about your teacher background.
Okay. I am a middle school teacher. Before that, I taught at Fayetteville Tech here, and then I taught at Harvard University. And then when I made my transition as a lateral entry teacher, I started teaching first at Max Sabbath, and then I went to Westover Middle School. I taught social studies, reading, comm skills, forensics, yearbook journalism, and dance.
Okay.
So-
And so you were lateral entry.
I was, yes.
And explain to our listeners what lateral entry is.
Lateral entry is a process for teachers who are non-traditional teachers. So if you come out with a degree in any field, then you can teach in that field. But at the same time, you have to take 6 semester hours every year until you receive your licensure as a teacher.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now the experience was a bit different for you, Tina. Talk to us a bit.
I did more of the traditional route. I went to FSU and got my bachelor's in elementary education and did my student teaching. And then I started at Young Howard Elementary, which is no longer.
Right.
It's Howard Health and Science now. And I was a 3rd grade teacher along with another teacher. We were both first-year teachers that year. So and we were the whole grade level. So imagine that. Went on to become the reading specialist there, and then moved over to another elementary school, Baldwin Elementary, and taught 1st grade, became their instructional coach for a few years, and then went into administration as their assistant principal. And then one day became the Beginning Teacher Support Coordinator, and loving every minute of it.
That's good. And see, you guys work so well as a team. I know that with you all having such varied backgrounds, that kind of helps, I'm sure,
Yes.
all of our beginning teachers, rather, in terms of their aspirations and goals and the expectations and those types of things.
Absolutely. I think we play off of one another, each other's strengths. She's more middle school, and she knows the whole lateral entry part. And I'm more the traditional route, and I know the elementary part. And so what I don't know, she knows, and what she doesn't know, I know.
Hey, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Well, let's talk about teacher retention and how we get the best, most highly qualified teachers. What do you all do to help out with that particular effort?
We try to give our beginning teachers mainly, more than anything, is support.
Okay.
Because we know from the research it's the support that often gets them to leave the profession. And so we try to support them through us, just making sure that they're getting what they need. And then we also send out a retired teacher for our first year beginning teachers. And that retired teacher works with them on a weekly basis and just helps them with such things as lesson plans, classroom management, all those hidden rules of the school that maybe nobody else is going to tell them, but this retired teacher will tell them, just to get them through that first year, not only to survive, but to thrive as well.
That's good.
And I would also say with the support, we also just have a structural support, and that's with the whole beginning teacher program. We have a lead success, and that's an administrator generally, or a lead teacher in every school, and so they oversee the beginning teachers in that school. So we work with them, we train them, work with technology. We train our retirees so that they can work with the beginning teachers in technology and things like that.
That's good. And you know what, a lot of people, and I say that in my intro, coming into the profession, it could be overwhelming for
Very
most.
much.
But it's good to have the support that you all are offering because, like you said, that does help you survive as well as thrive. Now, is this like a new trend, having the beginning teacher support, or is this something we've just developed here in Cumberland County, or, how long has it been around?
I think a long time,
Okay.
but I would say that honestly, Cumberland County does really well at it. Whenever I've gone to conferences or workshops around the country, or when we recruit around the country, we talk to other people who have beginning teacher programs, if they have programs. And ours seems pretty cutting edge.
Well, that's good.
I think the state sets expectations of what we need to do for beginning teachers, but Cumberland County we go above and beyond, such as the retired teachers going in and supporting them, and having our administrators as lead success and making sure they're holding those monthly meetings, and even professional development is something that we give our BT specifically that other counties don't necessarily do.
That's good. Now, define for us a beginning teacher.
That is a teacher who enters into the system, if you're a traditional ed, and any teacher who enters into the system with no prior teaching experience. So if you come out of a university, then you would be a beginning teacher and you have to serve 3 years in the program. The program is more to give support, not so much as just a regulatory thing. And then you may also have somebody who comes from a private school who is taught at a university, and they still need to go through the program because they may not know the pedagogy and methodology of teaching.
Okay.
They have to serve in it for 3 years and be successful those 3 years. And at the end of the 3rd year, they have to be proficient in all standards in order for us to recommend them for their next license, which is their Standard Professional 2 license, which is a 5-year license. So they've got 3 years to kind of get everything in line and in check.
That's good. Now, how do you all go about evaluating that during that 3-year period?
We have a Title II audit. Actually, it's not an audit, it's more of a monitoring visit is what they call it. And they just come in and they check our paperwork. And what we do in the meantime is every year we look at their observations, make sure the principal has done all the observations they're supposed to do, as well as a peer observation, making sure that the mentors in the school are also meeting with the beginning teachers and then giving them support. And this all has to be documented. And then all the paperwork comes into our office, and at the end of the year we just kind of go over it and check it, and throughout the year we're going out to the schools and spot checking as well.
That's good.
And I would say one of the things is that we're not just dotting I's and crossing T's. We're not checking boxes. We actually do get to know our beginning teachers personally. So in their professional development, are they taking enough courses? Are they growing themselves as a professional? And so each person really does. We really do look at them closely, every single person, or we try to. And those who need help, we offer them various types of help as our retirees. We also have a program called iCare, and that's where we'll send in a retiree for 40 hours of one-on-one time. So that's almost like a consultant who will go into the classroom and spend 5 hours a day with that teacher to help grow them. And so we really give a lot of attention. There's the general attention, but also individualized attention to each teacher.
Now, you know, what's something that fascinates me is the fact that as we have young people going through the system now and graduating, the younger generation needs a little something different than what the older generation would have needed. So what are you all finding as far as that trend is concerned? What are you seeing?
It's really classroom management.
Very much. But that has always been. I think it may be a little bit more dire, and I teach a classroom management intensive professional development, and that is a lot more dire now because of the nature of our students. We have a very diverse population, ethnically, racially, but also socioeconomically. And so this makes for a very heterogeneous population that they have to serve all of the students. And so they really have to learn things like just behavior management, psychology, how to understand not just basic classroom management, what do you do with the resources in your classroom? And I would say if that's any area, that would be the one area that teachers struggle the most with. That has been over the years, but it's getting even more so now. Tied into that, I would think active engagement, multiple intelligences, when they teach, that they teach to engage all the students, not that they just teach to a certain population of students and ignore the other ones. And so all of that is intertwined with each other.
Does that go into learning styles?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Okay.
We also talk to them about professionalism, because that is probably something that more the newer generation would need. Just making sure you're dressing appropriately. We talk about Facebook and Vine and Twitter and just keeping all of those things appropriate, because sometimes you think, you know, nobody's really looking, but you never know when that parent or that student gets on your Facebook and sees maybe that inappropriate comment. So we try to make sure that they keep it clean, because now you're a teacher and the expectations are much higher, and you do have standards, you know, standard of conduct that people are expecting you to live up to.
Very important, very important. Now, based on feedback you've received from the teachers who have gone through the program, what have they told you about the program? And I know it's a successful program, but what type of feedback have you all gotten?
I would say one of the things that, one of the things is that we have established really good personal relationships with the teachers. Every year we may work with, when I first came it was near to 1,200 beginning teachers, and now we whittled down to about 800. So one is we're not losing as many teachers because we don't need as many coming in. But in those, so many teachers, we do establish personal relationships. They email, they come by, they see us. When we see them, they talk to us. I would say another thing is often after they finish the program, they immediately become a mentor because they had such a wonderful experience as a beginning teacher. To me, that's one of the biggest testimonies, that they want to mentor somebody and help someone out as they were helped themselves.
And that's what I was thinking. They want to give back. They want to be that mentor for that new beginning teacher. And the good thing about it is they were just there.
Right.
So they know what that beginning teacher's going through. They know those insecurities, those needs and those wants that that beginning teacher has. And they kind of make everything all right. You know, and they tell them, look, I was there 4 years ago. You can do this.
That's good. It's good to have your own personal cheerleader there.
Absolutely.
Very much. And it's necessary. As Tina had said earlier, statistically, teachers are not successful if they don't have good, strong mentoring and support. So we really work hard to make sure that they get that support and mentoring.
Okay. Well, ladies, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about more of this support, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Great.
Don't go anywhere. Stick around for more Get Connected.
Ever wonder what makes us, the Smurfs, so happy? The forest, of course! This is where we, along with the beautiful forest creatures, make our home with beautiful plant life, clean water, and endless adventures. It's a place to celebrate. So discover the forest with your family today. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected. Our guests are Cumberland County Schools Beginning Teacher Support Coordinator, Tina Chapman, and Jovan Jones, the Professional Development Facilitator. Now, we're talking about how they are helping new teachers work with today's students, and that is so important. Now, as the year starts off, there is a beginning teacher orientation. What is that all about?
Well, it takes place in August, and we usually have it at Southview High School, and it's a 3-day orientation. And we go over lots of things. We go over classroom management. We do a lot with the curriculum, and actually, I think Jovan and I more plan it, and then we bring in all the experts to actually kind of execute it. We bring in all the curriculum specialists, a first grade teacher, second grade teacher, EC teachers, science teachers, you know, and bring them in and have them show the teachers how to make a lesson plan. What are the expectations? What's going to happen on the first day of school? What's going to happen, you know, on the 10th day of school? Talk about attendance, talk about different policies, classroom management, EC requirements. It's just a load of information spread out over 3 days for the beginning teachers.
And I would add, we also have a section, aside from the curriculum, we have a technology session where they'll work with Edmodo or they'll work with web tools. We have a session, as Tina had mentioned, with EC students. One is co-teaching with another teacher in the classroom and how to do that. How to, what is another EC one?
Working with the autistic child.
Yes, so it's just working with different populations, but we offer a series of classes that they can take and pick and choose which ones they want to be in. And so it's really just to help them, aside from the curriculum, other areas that they might need help in as a teacher that they won't get any training in, aside from that.
That's good. Now, I remember at one point, and you have to refresh my memory or say, Renarta, no, we don't do that anymore. There used to be a room where teachers could go and pick up different materials and those things to kind of kickstart their classrooms. Do we still have that?
Sadly, we don't.
Oh no, what happened? Funding?
Funding,
Yes.
we had a grant for a very long time, and part of that grant was from the Junior League and had supplied those materials, and it was called the Teacher Toolbox.
Yeah.
And teachers could come in and get about $100 worth of materials to start their year out. But funds have run out, and we haven't been able to replenish our teacher toolbox. So that's no longer something that we offer our beginning teachers. Very sad.
Yeah, maybe we have some community members out there listening who might want to make a donation and get it
Absolutely.
revived.
That would be wonderful.
We would love it.
Yeah.
Last year we had Lowe's, and they supported and donated
Lowe's did?
yes, a great grant. And so if anyone wants to, we'd love to have the support.
That's good. Hey, that would work. Well, let's just hope someone does, give you all a call. And, that's a question. If someone would like to make, some type of donation or have a grant opportunity that you all might be interested in, how can they reach you?
They can call us at our office, 910-678-8734. They can email us, Tina Chapman at ccs.k12.nc.us, or
Jovan Jones, which is Jovan Jones at CCS. Same thing, K12nc.us.
Okay, that's good. Now, something else that I'm aware of is eye care. But share with our viewers what eye care is all about. And I think Jovan may have touched on it a little earlier, but please expound.
Okay. Well, eye care is basically, with our mentoring, we have 3 tiers, and that's kind of important. We have a building mentor, and that's a teacher in the building who works with each beginning teacher. So years 1 through 3, each teacher has a building mentor. First years have someone who is a PAL, who's a retiree from the district. And then if they're in trouble, they can also get an eye care, which is a retiree who is specialized in their particular field. So if you have a third grade teacher, you would have an elementary teacher who works with 3-5. Or if you have an EC teacher who needs help, we'd send in an EC teacher who works with them. And so that person would go in and give them 40 hours of one-on-one time. They're not like a glorified TA. They go in, they observe, they see what's going on, they troubleshoot. They'll sit in on team plannings, they'll sit in department meetings, they'll talk to the principal, they talk to us, talk to the AP, whatever is necessary to affect change so that that teacher can begin to really perform up to par. They give a lot of feedback to the teacher. They'll model for the teacher. What is this classroom? What should it look like? How should you be teaching? How should you be pacing your instruction? So our eye cares are trained and they work as a consultant but also as a hands-on facilitator to teach that teacher how to properly instruct.
That's good. Hey, it's good to have that support, like I said earlier. Yeah. Now, what is lead success?
Lead success is where there's a designee from each school. Sometimes it's an assistant principal, sometimes it's a lead teacher. And they meet with us on a monthly basis, and we give them important information to take back to their school to offer to the beginning teachers. And it's not just important information, it's also usually some type of professional development strategy, something that they can take back and implement in their classroom. What we find is we're such a large county, and they're, like Jovan said earlier, we have whittled our BTs down to 800, but there's 2 of us.
Right.
You know, we have multiple schools, and so we can't necessarily make it to each school every week. So this is a way for us to get to each and every BT throughout the month and give them the information that they need. So that lead success designee goes back to their school and gives the information that we presented them to at lead success. It might be how to use Edmodo. We just did something with TeamViewer, and we actually made a video because now we have a YouTube channel that we would like to talk
about that last month.
Yes, we have a YouTube channel, and we made a video about Viewfinder, or TeamViewer, and that's where a lot of times teachers get locked to their smartboard and they don't ever circulate around their room. And so this is something that you can download on your smartphone, and then you can control your computer from wherever you are in your room on your smartphone.
Oh.
So you can get that close proximity to that child that you might need to, that you couldn't before. Yeah. And so just giving them strategies to use in their classroom, because you got to remember, they don't have a lot of strategies because this is their beginning of their profession.
That's good. That is really great. Now, what is the beginning teacher professional development plan?
That's basically the plan that we set up, that we've worked through, and it has gone through cabinet, has gone through the board, and it's what professional development do we feel that beginning teachers need in their 3 years. So tied into that, of course, is the classroom management intensive, the new teacher orientation, or for teachers who are coming in throughout the course of the year, the makeup orientation. And it's to give them curriculum, it's to give them lesson planning, it's to give them strategies and organized lessons and creating meaningful objectives. It's also to give them, as we said before, classroom management. That is such a key part. Tied into that professional development plan is a very interactive part where I go out to the schools and will make visits to the teachers to see that they're implementing what they've received in the professional development. So there's an intensive follow-up that goes along with it.
That's good. You know, and what comes to my mind is if a person is not successful in being a BT, as you call it, a beginning teacher,
yes.
I mean, you guys have really set up some safety nets.
Very much.
So,
yes.
I mean, you really have no other choice but to really be successful if you really want it.
Yes.
Yes.
But then I'm sure you all advise people if children are not their thing, they don't need to be in the business.
Right.
You know.
And we tell our beginning teachers, we can give you everything you need. We can give you all the strategies, how to be a great teacher. We can give you the classroom management strategies. We can teach you everything you need to know. But you have to have the passion for it. That's something we can't give you. We can show you our passion for education, but you have to have it. You have to have the heart and the love of those kids. You just do. You know, I mean, it's something that you go every day and you see those little smiling faces at you, and your heart just melts.
Yeah, and the hugs.
Yes.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing. Now, what is the initial licensure program?
That's kind of what we talked about earlier, that 3-year license. Every beginning teacher gets a license for 3 years from the state, and they have to go through our BT program and making sure that they're successful, getting, you know, proficient by the end of their 3rd year in order for us to recommend them for a standard professional 2 license. It's that 3-year license that all of us get.
Okay. And you know what, earlier, I'm trying to rush along because I'm looking at the clock on the wall, but I know earlier we touched on lateral entry. And Jovan, you shared with us in depth as to what lateral entry is. But then here in our system, we have lateral entry mini camps, correct?
Yes.
And those are what exactly?
The lateral entry mini camp is a requirement. Out of No Child Left Behind, there's a requirement that teachers must have an 80-hour module of one-on-one face time in teaching training. And so part of the the new teacher orientation is part of that, but the lateral entry mini camp, and that is an intensive camp where they receive a lot of pedagogy and methodology so that they can go into the classroom and hit the ground running. How to do curriculum, lesson planning, things like that, so that when they go into the classroom, teachers who have never had any experience in the classroom know what they're doing.
Okay.
I think the difference between lateral entry and a traditional student is they didn't do student teaching.
Okay.
So when they walk in that classroom, that's their first time with kids.
Oh, got it.
First time. They might have been in the science department or the field of science somewhere, and now they're working with kids. Totally different.
Oh yeah, big
Totally
difference,
different.
big difference. And then one of the last things I wanted to ask you about is the annual BT or Beginning Teacher Social. So there's some fun here. It's not just all
Yes.
lesson plans and lateral this and da-da-da-da. There's some fun, correct?
We're
Yes.
so glad you asked about the social. It's one of our favorite things. And we do have some community members that actually partner with us. The CCAE, the Cumberland County Association of Educators, Up and Coming,
Horace Mann.
and Horace Mann. And we just have it's a party. It's celebrating our beginning teachers, and we have a lot of fun, and that's where we build a lot of our relationships.
Hey, and who doesn't like a party?
Well, absolutely.
That's good, that's good. Well, you all have any last words? We are about to tick on down, but I just wanted any last words you'd like to share about your program and the success of it?
Just continue to celebrate our beginning teachers. We need them all. We need everybody in this profession who has a heart for it. And so if you see a beginning teacher, make sure you support them and just give them a pat on the back and say, you're doing a good job.
That's good. All right. Okay, well, Tina, Jovan, thank you so very much for joining us. We'll have you back, okay?
Okay,
All right.
Great. Thank
All
you.
right. Okay,
Thank
you. Well, on behalf of the Cumberland County School System, we want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of our show and for giving us a chance to help you get connected. Until next time.